Hello people of the court, welcome to a small video of me making a tier list of my favorite Godzilla movies. A while back I just sat down and decided to watch every single Godzilla movie in order. I'm gonna start with the original 1955, and for me it's gonna be a solid A. The original 1955 Godzilla. It's a very nice movie, and it's also got extremely good tension. It makes a really good work on not showing Godzilla as it is, and I think it has a very meaningful message, including not only what Godzilla symbolizes, but what eventually becomes Godzilla's demise symbolizes as well, like science and how it is sometimes taken to make weapons. Also, I realized it's 1954 and 1955. That is a major mistake of mine. Next up, we have 1955's Godzilla Raids Again, made 6 months later, if I'm correct. And I gotta be honest, it's a solid B for me. It's a solid sequel. The second Godzilla kind of just fucking shows up out of nowhere, but it's still a good sequel. It still has good cinematography. I think the human characters play a big part, especially at the end of the movie, and the ending leaves the door open for continuation of the story, which obviously happens. I mean, Godzilla has been around since the 50s. Next up, we have 1962 Godzilla versus Kong. When I saw this movie, I had just seen the fucking GIF. I mean, we've all seen the GIF of Godzilla getting a tree shoved his fucking throat. If I'm completely honest, the movie isn't the greatest, but at the time, seeing the two biggest creatures of cinema across the entire world duking it out in a movie, that was definitely something exciting, which we definitely got a remastered in 2021. But the original, for me, having it seen like 50 years later, it just it was underwhelming, to say the least. Kong's suit looked very, very odd. Godzilla's design, on the other hand, it's one of my favorite designs. 1962's Godzilla design is one of my favorites. The movie gets a solid B. So next up, it's Godzilla versus Mothra. It was a good movie, good introduction of the character, and it's a movie I would really watch again. I think I should actually watch again every single movie on this list. So Godzilla vs. Mothra gets actually an A. I really enjoyed it. I think the villains and the human story is a big part. So next up, we have Ghidorah, the three-headed monster. I actually have an issue here, because I always confuse Ghidorah, a three-headed monster, with Invasion of Monster X. I always mix them up, so like that kind of speaks for itself. I actually don't remember much of the movie, so I'm just gonna put it I'm gonna put it in C, because the simple fact that I don't remember much of the movie kind of just speaks for itself. And next up, we have 1965's Invasion of Astro Monster. This is actually a movie that I remember quite well, especially since, you know, it's like the first Godzilla movie that I see an actor that isn't Japanese. I liked the introduction of the whole new race, and it had a good concept. I think it could have done better, and you know, it's funny seeing space movies from the 60s, how all the spaceships and shit, it's just a little bunch of flashy lights and switches. So I enjoyed that a lot. I'm giving it a solid B in front of Godzilla vs. Kong. Next up, a movie that I've seen that kinda isn't that loved, but I actually really liked it. Godzilla vs. Baaru, 1966. For me, it's a good antagonist. It doesn't play a big role. Like, Godzilla is still like, oh, the big bad guy on this movie, yet he begins acting good towards humans on this movie. I mean, he's been doing that since before, but you can start seeing it better since this movie. It's a little boring on the side that it has too much human screen time. Like, you get a little tired of so many humans on screen all the goddamn time. So I'm giving it a B2, but I'll put it in third place. Next up, 1967's Son of Godzilla. This is an odd movie. It starts to shine through that Godzilla starts becoming a little more family friendly instead of the giant kaiju that ravaged through a city and had an impactful message on nuclear weapons. But it's still an enjoyable movie. We get the introduction of Monster Island. You get like 3 new kaijus on this movie. It's a really cool movie. I really liked it, but deep down it just feels a little too family friendly. But I'm still gonna give it an A. I think I want to move the original Godzilla to the S tier before I get butchered for putting it on A tier, because I was thinking I really like the original Godzilla. Next up is possibly my personal favorite. I don't know if that's controversial to say. I've never seen anyone say that 1968 Destroy All Monsters is their favorite Godzilla movie, but I think it's my favorite movie. I'll be completely open and honest about that. I think it's just a masterpiece. The amount of kaijus amassed on a single movie and the threat of global destruction, the whole plot that humans can also be mentally controlled, it's just a really exciting movie. I honestly remember that movie really well. It was exciting. I enjoyed watching every second of it, and I would definitely watch it again. So I'm putting on S tier, and I'm actually gonna put it in front of the original Godzilla. Next up is listen, I really tried to enjoy this movie, but it was just the fucking worst. It's a shit movie, okay? It's a shit movie. It's just a kid having fucking dreams, but it's such a god-awful movie. I'm not even gonna use its name on the movie, okay? So I'm gonna put it on F tier. I'm sorry. I'm putting it in F tier. It's fucking awful. There's fucking bully kaijus and shit. Next up, 1970s Godzilla vs. Hedorah. Like, you know, that movie could have been R-rated. Godzilla vs. Hedorah is what I like to call as the start of Godzilla's environmentalist campaign on humanity. I think Hedorah is a good representation of a lot of human problems can destroy the world we live in, but I think it has a deep message, and for that I am putting you in A tier. Next up, it's 1972's Godzilla vs. Gigan. I don't even know where to begin. I recently rewatched it for Gigan's birthday. I enjoyed it. I mean, the main villains are fucking giant cockroaches from another world, and Gigan looks fucking shit. Like, we all love Gigan, okay? If you don't love Gigan, you're my arch nemesis. We all love his design. We all know this movie didn't have that much of a budget, so the suit itself looks a little quirky. But the movie still came out great. I had a great time watching it. Also, King Ghidorah makes an appearance, so that's always a plus. So you are a solid B. Actually, A. Yeah, you're making the A cut. Next up, it's what I like to call as Godzilla's environmentalist campaign ending, which is Godzilla versus Megalon. Megalon has a really odd design, and you know, I just can't avoid laughing at the fact they really named their underwater city Seatopia. It's a cool movie. It introduces everyone's favorite giant robot that totally isn't Ultraman, Jet Jaguar. But despite all that, it's not the greatest of movies, so I'm gonna give it a solid C. Next up, 1974's Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. One of the greatest. I remember the movie almost perfectly. It was a great movie. It introduces King Caesar, which, you know, it's a really cool kaiju if you ask me. I think he's really cool looking and shit. Overall, it's just a really good movie. I mean, A lot of kaiju fun, a lot of fighting. The human characters are not obnoxious or annoying. They have a good purpose. They actually serve the story and they give something important to the story for it to progress. And I think it's a really good movie. So I'm actually gonna give it an A. Right behind Godzilla vs. Hedorah. Now, 1975's Terror of Mechagodzilla, which marks the end of the Showa era from 1954 to 1975. It's Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2, okay? It's like the same thing, but somehow it's cooler. I really can't explain how Terror of Mechagodzilla is subtly just better, and I was really into it. Like, it has a lot of great moments, a lot of amazing soundtrack. I really like the cinematography, the lighting, everything on this movie is just beautiful, and that is why I am giving it an S. Then Godzilla will be laid to sleep for a couple of years until its return in 1984's Return of Godzilla. This movie starts the Heisei era from 1984 to 1995. It's the only Godzilla timeline where the same Godzilla participates in every single movie, and it's a really neat movie. I think it reopens Godzilla to the new market. It had a good story, it had good effects. Godzilla beam itself, it looked just a lot better with 80s technology, you know? It's good, dumb kaiju fun, okay? It doesn't have an impactful story or shit, it's just fun. So you, my good sir, are getting an A+, right behind Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. Next we have one that I've seen a lot of fans like, one that I personally like a lot, of Godzilla vs. Gigante. It's an impactful movie. It has a good plot. I really like the plot. The human characters are extremely important in this movie. Everyone plays a big part on the story. It doesn't feel like there are dumb characters walking around, just everyone plays an important part of the story. The whole debate that I've seen people talking about how Gigante in the end wasn't really just a bad thing, it actually wanted to stop Godzilla. It's just a really good movie and leaves you thinking about a lot of things. So I'm giving it a solid A as well. I'm gonna put it at the top of the A chain. Next up, we have a movie that I personally, to be honest, found boring. The Heisei era version of Godzilla vs. Mothra. I don't know, this movie was boring, okay? I sat through it. It was alright. The introduction of Batra was cool. There's a lot of shiny beams going around. And that's it, okay? I don't remember much of the movie, so I'm giving it a C. But I'm putting it on top of the C chain. Hey, Aiko from the future here. Before I get murdered for putting this movie on C, I've actually changed my mind. I didn't remember much of the movie at the time, and after rewatching it, I've reevaluated, and it deserves an A. It definitely deserves an A. The movie is great. Sorry, y'all. Next up, we have one that I personally hold very dear to me, Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah. I've seen a lot of people make fun of this movie just because of the whole time travel, and I get that Godzilla doing time travel and shit, it's a little weird, but I think it's a good movie. It has good effects. It introduces Mecha King Ghidorah, which, let's face it, it's really fucking badass. Characters are really important on this story. Like, Mecha King Ghidorah wouldn't exist if the human characters hadn't participated directly with the plot, and I think overall it's a really good movie. So I'm gonna put it on a top of the B chart, because I know I'm like 2 people on the whole world that find it an extremely good movie, but not everyone likes it, so I'm giving it a solid B. Next up, a movie that I found really underwhelming. This is the worst Mechagodzilla design of them all. Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2. Rodan design of the 80s. I dig it. I think it's really cool. Mechagodzilla's design of the 80s? Fuck no, get that shit away from me, please. I do not want anything to do with that. Overall, this movie is pretty enjoyable. The fighting is great, the music goes well with the scenes, and we get the introduction of the cutest Godzilla Jr. I rate it a solid A. Next up, we have one that I don't see much people talking about, which they should. Like, come on. This movie is really cool. Godzilla versus Space Godzilla. The title sounds a little lame, but when you actually sit down and watch the movie, it's actually really enjoyable. Like, I really enjoyed Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. They reintroduce Moguera, because like we all know that's a character from another movie. It's a cool drama movie, but I liked it, so it gets a B. Right above Baaru. Actually, right above Invasion of Astro Monster. Then we have the one and only, the beloved Godzilla vs. Destroyer. I'm not even gonna talk about it. I'm just putting it where it belongs. S tier at the very top. The best ending to any timeline Godzilla could have been in. One of the best Godzilla movies ever made. And just a beautiful film to watch. Anyways, the true star Godzilla. We all remember that. We all remember seeing that thing in theaters. Well, I've actually come around the movie before you start saying why it ain't in F already. I think as a movie, it's got potential. It's deep as a movie. It's got a good plot as a movie. Godzilla's design, it's a giant iguana, okay? It's not the dinosaur we all love. It's a giant fucking iguana, but it's still a good kaiju film. I enjoyed it, and for that I am giving it a C. Then we have the one and only 1999's Godzilla 2000, the one movie where my favorite kaiju ever appears, which is Orga, my beloved Orga. It's just the best kaiju ever, okay? Just look at it. It's literally the best kaiju ever conceived. I think this movie is a powerful movie, especially the amount of people that I've seen reference in the end. We've all seen the end, okay? It's a really fucking cool movie, and I'll put it S tier, but I'll put it here, right behind Destroy All Monsters and behind the original Godzilla. Actually, I'll put it in front of the original Godzilla. Then we have Godzilla vs. Megaguirus. It's the second movie of the millennial timeline, so it ain't the best, but I really dig the design. I really like the Megaguirus design. It's a cool thing, and I think it's like the first Godzilla movie where someone gets eaten, because I remember that one scene where two people get eaten by one of Megaguirus' offsprings. So yeah, I'm putting Godzilla vs. Megaguirus at the bottom of the not bottom, at the middle. Yeah, the sort of middle, at the top 3 of the B tier. Then we have Godzilla, Mothra, and King Ghidorah, All Monsters Attack, 2001. My poor boy Baragon, my poor doggo, wasn't included on the fucking title. This is a very special Godzilla movie, okay? Starting by the fact King Ghidorah isn't evil, and is actually a protector of Earth. Then going by the fact Godzilla isn't even fucking real, it's just the amassed souls of the dead from World War II manifesting as a giant creature. It's a peculiar movie, to say the least, but it's actually really fun. The story doesn't get boring. It actually was something fresh to the whole Godzilla. And I think it was a solid movie. So I'm giving it a solid A, right above Godzilla vs. Hedorah. Then we have Godzilla against Mechagodzilla 2002. I enjoy this movie a lot, especially because of Kirju. Okay, I'll come clean. Kirju is something I enjoy a lot, and Kirju is just the fucking best. We all love Kirju. It's probably the best Mechagodzilla design, and the movie is cool. It has a cool female lead, a really good Godzilla movie, and it's like the first Godzilla movie to end that the next one really literally picks up right where it left it. It's just a really cool movie. I think 2002 and 2003, the two of them are amazing movies. So 2002 Godzilla against Mechagodzilla is getting a solid A, right under Biogante. And then 2003 Godzilla, Mothra, and Mechagodzilla Tokyo SOS. It's an epic conclusion for me. It's a really good conclusion. Like, if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. Like, this movie is fucking epic, okay? It just blew my mind off. It's one of the best Godzilla movies I've ever seen. I really fucking enjoyed it with all my fucking heart, okay? So I'm putting it on top of the A tier. Then we have Godzilla Final Wars 2004. Such a good movie. It definitely leaks into the ridicule category. This movie it gets a little weird with the whole superhuman shit, but it's a nice send-off. It's a really good movie, okay? I personally enjoyed every bit of it. It was never too much, but it wasn't too little, so it had me on the edge of my seat at every moment. And every character is just so pivotal to the story, and original actors coming back to play new characters, and it's just such a good homage to the original films, and it's a good new story to make a final conclusion of all the kaijus. So I'm giving it actually an S, right behind the original Godzilla. Next, we have the start of the Monsterverse, Legendary Pictures 2014's Godzilla. I came to understand that this movie is actually a really good American adaptation. It did what TriStar failed to do. It made a good adaptation of the original material. It didn't show Godzilla too much until the end for the final fight. It didn't pressure or accelerate the story too much, which, you know, the original didn't do either. And overall, it was just a really good movie that I just really enjoyed, okay? It was a movie that I enjoyed deeply. Anyways, I'm giving it an A tier. Right behind Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. Yeah, right behind. Then we have 2016's first new Japanese Godzilla film since Final Wars, Shin Godzilla. There's nothing I can say about this movie that others haven't said already. It's a good revival. It's a good reimagination of Godzilla. It's a good homage as itself. It brings new concepts. It just looks gorgeous. It's an amazing combination of physical work and CGI. It's just everything Godzilla stands for and more. It's beautiful. It easily deserves an S tier, and I'll put it above Final Wars. No, actually under Final Wars. I really like Final Wars, but Shin Godzilla it symbolizes a lot more, so I'll put it above Final Wars. And then we arrive to the trilogy that everyone fucking hates. I'll just do this quick, okay? Godzilla fucking, I forgot the name of the first one. Okay, you're a solid D. You're really boring. Actually, you're an F. You're really fucking boring. City on the Edge of Battle, I think it was a cool looking movie, okay? It was cool looking. So you go at the end of the C tier, and then you go at the top of the C tier. Yes, I'm saying Godzilla Planet Eater is better than the TriStar movie and these three others, okay? Do not come at me. And then we have our final two, Godzilla King of the Monsters 2019, and a movie that I'm biased on. I know the whole human characters and things they do on this movie are fucking stupid, okay? I'm not gonna argue that, but big fucking monster fighting big fucking monster and world fucking destroying itself, like, come on. My brain goes happy seeing monster fight monster, okay? It's a cool movie. It's a cool movie if you don't pay attention to the story, and that's why I'm putting it right here. And then we have Godzilla vs. Kong, a movie that I had the beautiful pleasure of watching on the premiere. It was just beautiful how they invented a new story. Godzilla itself, the new design is just beautiful looking. I really like the new design. I wish what everyone else wishes, the final battle to be longer. Like everyone fucking wishes the final battle was longer. I was speechless when I was sitting in theaters just waiting for it to start. It's a feeling I don't think I can repeat again, especially since it's a movie that was remade like 65 years later. I don't think anything can bring me back that joy of sitting there watching it, being one of the first in the world to watch it. It was just it was just absolutely perfection. So I'm giving Godzilla vs. Kong S tier, but I'm putting it at the bottom of the S tier because even though it's an amazing movie, it's dumb kaiju fun, and these other movies at least have some human development. So that concludes my little small teeny tiny tier list. Thank you if you stick by the entire video. I'll be back I don't know, maybe in 2 fucking months, because I make videos so fluctuating. I don't really have a schedule, but I'll be back when I can, and I'll see you if if you want